Amy, I want to say thank you for coming in tonight. Thank you for coming on, being a guest, taking time for your family. Appreciate you coming on. So Amy, the floor is yours.
Oh, what a pleasure to be here. Lawrence, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us today and taking time out of your valuable evening. It is such a pleasure to be here. As you mentioned, here on purpose with a purpose. I love to be able to add value, and this LinkedIn thing is quite fascinating. I've seen how it can benefit my business. I want to make sure you're utilizing it to the best of your ability as well. So we're going to share some tips and tricks. Would love to keep this interactive, if that's okay with you, Lawrence. So,
sure.
I'm going to talk. Pamela. Yeah. So as I'm going along, if you've got a question, raise your hand. Happy to chat. And Lawrence, I just want to make sure before we get started, how long do I have? So I don't overstate my welcome.
You have until 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Cool. Perfect. All right.
And also, I gave you the co-host. You can share the screen if you want to.
Perfect. Yeah. Let's share. Let's see how this goes. All right. Are you all seeing that over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, I'm going to put you guys over here so I can see you. If you raise your hand, just let me know. We're gonna make this fun. So, all right. So, who in the world am I? Lawrence mentioned my name is Amy Sylvis. I'm with Sylvis Capital. So, a little bit about me, just so you know who I am. I'm out here in Los Angeles. I'm married to husband Joel, the love of my life, an amazing man. We met in high school. We didn't date back then. We met later in life on Facebook, but we're out here going to every USC football game we can. We love to travel internationally, of course, spend time with family. And I've got almost 750 apartment units under management and 280,000 square foot of flex industrial commercial real estate. Haven't quite hit the 100 million assets under management, but pretty close. So I actually passively invested for over a decade and have been in the active space here now for just over 3.5 years. And my role in real estate is what? Well, I love to do market research. I love to be on the acquisition side. And I've recently started to be on the investor relations side, and I've raised millions upon millions of dollars on LinkedIn. And I want to show you all some tips and tricks. Obviously, we don't have all the time in the world, but I'm going to give you as much as I can in our allotted time. How's it sound? We good? Beautiful. All right. So why LinkedIn? There are many other social media platforms out there that we're all aware of. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's even TikTok. So why am I not on TikTok doing a middle-aged white lady dance, trying to get people to invest with me, right? Why did I choose LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is, as I say, we fish where the fish are, right? So 49% of all LinkedIn users earn more than $75,000 a year. 37% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has so many users, almost 900 million worldwide. So obviously that's greater than the population of the United States, but it just gives you an idea of how powerful this platform is in terms of its demographics. And the average LinkedIn user has twice the buying power of most other web users. So we are going to fish where the fish are in terms of LinkedIn. So how I think about LinkedIn and capital raising and doing investor relations is through, I think most of you have heard of this know, like, and trust funnel, right? And if you were to guess of the know, like, and trust funnel, what is the most important aspect of that funnel if you had to pick one? Any guesses? I'm gonna start calling on y'all if someone doesn't guess.
Trust.
Okay. Lawrence says trust. Anyone else?
No.
No. Okay. Thanks, Pamela. Okay. Well, one more.
I think
Trevor?
it's like trust.
Like you say trust. Okay. I submit to you all that it's no, because people cannot like you and cannot trust you if they don't know you. So the first step we're going to do here on LinkedIn is getting you known, because people cannot develop that relationship with you, get to know you, get to trust you without that. So appreciate you all you all chiming in. And feel free to tell me that I'm wrong. That's perfectly acceptable too. You may disagree, but in my experience, that's where it's been. So as we talk about this framework, this know, like, and trust funnel, I am very analytical, and especially when I capital raise and do these activities on LinkedIn, I want to make sure I'm understanding analytically my success and how I'm growing. So I want to go through the funnel and tell you all a few of the data points that I measure that you can measure too as you look to raise capital on LinkedIn. So in terms of knowing, you can measure on LinkedIn how many people, and they call it impressions, are looking at your LinkedIn posts or looking at your profile. So you can actually create a spreadsheet for yourself, and I do this myself, and track over time. You could also see on the platform how many people are looking at your content, and then of course, how many connections you have. Some people argue that connections are a bit of a glamour metric, if you will. I stole that from Jerome Myers. Hey, Jerome, shout out to him. But truly, the more connections you have on the platform, the more people are going to know you, right? The more people are going to see your content. So in terms of the know, like, and trust funnel, we're going to make sure we track impressions and connections. And then for like, we're going to look at engagements and direct message conversations. So it's one thing for people to kind of silently stalk you on social media, right? And maybe we've all had people reach out to us on LinkedIn or somewhere else saying, hey, I've been following what you've been doing, the past several months. You're like, I don't even know who you are. I didn't even know you were following me. This is wild. It's another level to get people to be so passionate and resonate so much with what you're sharing on the platform for them to actually engage and give you a comment. And then, of course, have direct message conversations as well. So again, engagements, direct message conversations, all can be measured on LinkedIn as well. So I would encourage you all to track that. We're going to dive deeper into all this, but I just kind of want to give you this overall framework to kick this off. And sometimes I talk fast, so let me know if you guys need me to slow down or go over another point. So trust, how are we going to measure trust? Phone calls and people joining your investor list. We all know, it's great for people to either silently stalk you, engage on your content, message you, but how do we really get them further over to be able to wire money to your deal? So getting on the phone, continuing to build that relationship, build that trust after they've seen your content on LinkedIn, and then of course, joining your investor list. So maybe they don't wire funds right away, but you're nurturing that relationship through your, whether it's Active Campaign or some other customer relationship management software, a CRM, if you will. And then finally, obviously, we know at the very bottom of the funnel, these are these folks that are finally wiring funds to your deal because they know, like, and trust you. So I'm going to take a second and look at the chat here. Okay, perfect. Got it. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing any questions. Okay, we're going to dive into how to get you known, because we know that's, I would argue, the most important part of the funnel. So again, we're increasing these connections and impressions on LinkedIn. I do want to show you very quickly where on LinkedIn you can find this analysis, and this is available to everybody. So you can take a look and go to your profile and see incredible graphs like this that are going to show you over time how you've been performing. So you can do it over a 90-day period, you could do it over a 7-day period, even 365 days. Again, this is the analytical Amy talking, but it's important to check this data to see how you're progressing. So those, and you can see there's a drop-down menu here. I'm not sure if you all can see my cursor there. You can also flip this to look at interactions as well. So we'll get there, but I just want to point out so you guys get a little bit familiar with how to track this. And then, so you can also track your followers. LinkedIn makes this really nice and easy. I mentioned you can create a spreadsheet, you can kind of do this for yourself, but you also have the opportunity to have LinkedIn analyze the data for you and show you how you're progressing there. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. If you haven't heard of an algorithm, I'm going to explain it to you all and then tell you some tips on how to really hack it on LinkedIn. The algorithm is simply what LinkedIn or many other social media platforms use to decide who's going to see your content, how many people, all those things, right? So every time you post, every time you comment on someone else's posts, LinkedIn is watching what you're doing and giving you kind of good girl or good boy points, if you will, for certain activity. And I want to make sure you all understand and know what they favor, what type of activity is going to get you those points so you can get your content in front of the most amount of people. Think of it as like a megaphone. If you do these certain things, the algorithm's going to give you an even bigger megaphone to broadcast whatever it is that you're saying on the platform. Does that make sense? Are we all tracking what the algo is? Perfect. All right, so what are the top things you can do to juice this algorithm? Because these are proven. I'm sure you all know Yona Weiss, the great Yona Weiss, the master of LinkedIn that does cost seg for many of our projects. He confirms this. I've seen it from my own experience. You've got to take the time to post 5 to 7 times a week consistently on LinkedIn. If you think, this makes sense, right? LinkedIn is a platform. They make money through, well, some people do their paid services, but if LinkedIn doesn't have content to show people on the platform, they're not doing their job. They're not making their money. So how do they get content? It's people like you and I. We generate the content. So they're going to reward us, not right away. It takes some consistent action week over week, but you've got to get out there and post something. Most people have a lot more to share than they realize. We can talk more about that. But if you're not already posting the good majority of the week, now's the time to get in the habit of doing that. Now, once you post, here's another trick for you. Reply to comments on your post as quickly as possible. So we call it, don't post and ghost, as it were. If you post, hang around on the platform a little bit. Wait to see who is saying something. If Trevor says, hey, Amy, that's awesome, I'm not going to just say, hey, that's really cool. Trevor said that to me. I'm going to reply. Because again, the algorithm likes engagement. They like, something to keep people on the platform, coming back and feeling like they're interacting and part of the platform. So it's all about conversation in terms of the algorithm. So leaving comments, replies to comments can be really helpful. So again, let's say, I had a post today about finally meeting the great Maurice Philogene. I've been doing business with the guy for almost 3.5 years. We finally met this weekend. I had a whole bunch of people say really cool things on the post, like, hey, that's great. You finally did that. Oh, that's amazing. So what was my reply? My reply, again, depending upon what these people said, was something to continue the conversation. Authentically, of course, right? I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to do this just to do it. I'm building relationships with people and really engaging. But a side benefit is it really benefits the algorithm as well. So if you can reply quickly, that's helpful. But obviously, none of us has time to live on the platform all day, right? So maybe deciding you're going to check in on the platform 2 to 3 times a day, maybe when you wake up and you post, and then on your lunch break, in the evening, and just making sure you're keeping up with the people that have taken the time to comment on your post. Are we tracking? All right, fantastic. Thank you. Here's the other trick. You can get just as much, get known, be liked, and be trusted by commenting on other people's content. A lot of people think, oh, it's just all about posting. What can I do? What can I post? But if Trevor, I'm going to keep picking on you, Trevor, because Trevor says really nice comments and does a lot on social media. But if Trevor posts, he's always speaking at great places, right? So if I comment on Trevor's post and say, hey, Trevor, that's amazing. How are you landing all of these speaking gigs? Or, hey, wow, you're really doing fantastic. I just want to encourage you. The algorithm favors that as well. And other people will see that you're engaging as well and maybe wonder who you are and what you're up to. So If you've ever read the book called The Go-Giver, or maybe you've heard of it by Bob Berg, LinkedIn really follows the principles that are taught in the book called The Go-Giver, meaning if you want something, like if you want to raise capital on LinkedIn, you better get ready and get started giving comments, giving likes, giving encouragement, giving content, adding value. So what I do is when I post in the morning, not only am I getting ready to respond to people who comment on my posts, but I'm proactively, right after I post, going on my timeline, seeing who's active and showing some love to those people as well. And a lot of people don't understand or don't realize that likes or kind of the hearts or the clappy hands and all that on LinkedIn, it's not really worth all that much. The algorithm doesn't really favor it. It's those comments, maybe a sentence or two, that are really well rewarded. So if you take the time to encourage other people, support, all of that good stuff, you'll be rewarded by the algorithm, and the algorithm will show more people your content. How we feeling? I know it's a lot, but I want to make sure you all know what we need to do to be seen here, to be known.
So,
Lawrence,
Amy,
yeah.
there's a question. Yeah, there's a question.
Oh, great.
Here.
Let's take it.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, are there schedules for LinkedIn? Yes. So most people have or should have access to a scheduler in LinkedIn right now, believe it or not. So let me see. You know what? We're going to call an audible here. I'm going to pull up my LinkedIn page so you guys can see this. I want to make sure we answer that question because it's really important. Posting in the morning is generally the most favorable. They're generally the most people are on LinkedIn at that time. So if you decide to post in the morning, you'll probably get more views. Here's my LinkedIn page. Are y'all seeing this?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yes.
cool. All right. So I'm going to show you where this scheduler is. I think last I checked, around 85 to 90% of people on LinkedIn have access to this. So here's your main page. You go to linkedin.com, the feed pops up. Here's how you access the scheduler. You click start to post, just as you normally would. And then there's this little thing down here right by the post button that says schedule for later. And this is actually available on the mobile app as well. It used to just be on desktop. Now it's on mobile. So if you click this little guy here, you can actually decide when you want this post to go out. So let's say you sleep in late. Maybe you wake up at 7, you want your post to go out right when you wake up. You can select that time, select the time of day, and yeah, you'll be set. And my pro tip for that, I do this once a week. So you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of posts. Well, so I do it, you can see, so I've got tomorrow's, Thursdays, Fridays. I accidentally skipped Saturday and I've got Sunday. So I batch posts. I basically sit down every Sunday. I think about what I want to talk about for the week. I get it all out there. I get it scheduled and then I'm set. It helps my brain with creativity if I'm not constantly thinking every day, oh my gosh, what am I going to post? So does that helpful? Does that make sense? I hope.
It does. Do you have, and I never even knew that, and I just checked the mobile app and the schedule is right there. It has a little red dot on it that says new. Oh my God.
Nice.
Do you also, is there a length of post that is more, I guess, required to, get yourself in that algorithm or not really?
It's a great question. So something that's more than just, a line or two, but also nothing too long. We're all, imagine you're scrolling through LinkedIn right now. None of us have the patience to read, a newsletter. It's just, unfortunately, there is a newsletter feature. Some people subscribe to that, but in terms of just a generic post, keeping it to the point, short and sweet, will not only favor you with the algorithm, but will encourage more people to engage with your content because they don't have to feel like they're reading a whole book, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
It actually does. It alleviates some pressure as well.
Good. Yeah. We're kind of I don't know the proper word to use, but we got a short attention span in our culture. So get in, get out, make the point, maybe add a graphic. Some graphics can be, or even a selfie, that's really favored with the algorithm. They love to see faces and the whites of your eyes. That the algorithm really likes that. So it's a great question. I appreciate that. Good stuff. All right, all right. So I'm going to go back to sharing, make sure I got this back up. Y'all are seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. So a few more algorithm tricks for you. Oh, I mentioned this. The pictures of the faces, it's going to get you more views. It just is. And again, imagine you're running LinkedIn and you're testing to see, you know, hey, how am I going to get eyeballs on this website? People love to see your face. They love to see what you're doing with your kiddos or maybe your spouse, you're out traveling, whatever. You know, this isn't Facebook, right? So we're not going to, you know, maybe overdo that. But I think once or twice a week, if you've got a selfie, you've got yourself, you know, out there doing something, just so people, again, I mean, it juices the algorithm, but people, that goes into kind of the like area of the funnel that we're talking about too. Here's another one that I see people make this mistake so often. If you're going to link to something, put the link in the comments, not in the original post. And here's why. LinkedIn doesn't want those eyeballs leaving the platform. So if you're linking to something outside, you know, a Zoom link, maybe an article that you're posting about, simply say in the post, link to, you know, whatever it is in the comments. Because if the algorithm sees that you've included a link to an outside website, it's instantly going to downgrade it and not show it to as many people. So keep that in mind. I know it's a little annoying. It's a little tough too when you're like me and you schedule posts because the post goes out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I said link in the comments. I need to go back and make sure I comment on my own post and put a link there. But yeah, that's very, very important. You'll see that the posts, yeah, do better there. Creating a little controversy can sometimes be good. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go out and, you know, say something crazy political. Please don't do that. This is not the time or the place. But, you know, on occasion, I'll say something, you know, a little controversial, like Robert Kiyosaki says your house isn't an asset. Ooh, people got big feelings about that. People have big feelings about that, and they want to let you know, and they're going to comment, and they're going to say something. Creates engagement, right? So think of ways, again, I'm not saying to go out and, you know, say something about Donald Trump or something. Please don't. This is not the time or the place. We're not, no one wants to hear it, you know, either way, however you feel. But something financial related or related to your business, or even asking people's opinions. People love to share how they feel about something. Maybe share a quote or share an article or something that you learned and say, hey, here's how I think about it. How do you feel? That engagement is not only going to help you build relationships, get to know people, have conversations in the comments, but the algorithm is really going to favor it as well. How do we feel? Are we good?
So I got a question, Amy.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been doing this this meetup for a while. I've been putting the link to the meetup in the post, right? In the post. So I should be saying, see, I was just saying that any website, I should put it in, make a comment and put it in the comments.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I'm just trying to help you.
No, that's so good. I'm like,
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Thank you. I never heard that before, but thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Good information.
Hey, it makes sense, you know. So I apply these tips solely to your personal LinkedIn page, and you also manage a company profile in some way. Great question. So company profile is good for legitimacy, if you will, and credibility. LinkedIn doesn't show company profile posts to that many people. It's a really interesting thing. So this is a relationship business that we're in. When we capital raise, people want to get to know you. People want to, you know, understand who you are, what you're all about, all of that. So doing all this from a personal page is what I would recommend, both from a know, like, and trust standpoint, and also from a standpoint of, you know, the algorithm and really how the platform works, if that makes sense. It's a great question, Bernadette. Did that answer your question, or give any follow-up? All right, cool.
Perfectly. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. It's a really good question. I appreciate it. So many little nuances here. It's taken me years and years and a few $1,000s to figure all this out. So I'm excited to share. All right. So tips to get you liked. Again, how are we measuring people liking you? It's these engagements and these direct messages. So I mentioned earlier, LinkedIn will show you your engagement rate, how many people are engaging, so commenting, liking. This drop-down menu, you may remember, this was impressions. So you can just drop it down, switch it, and look at your engagements and look that way and follow how all that's going for you. So when we think about liking, how are people going to like you? It's really all about empathy. It's putting yourself in other people's shoes and trying to imagine, what's going on in their head, what's going on in their world. So as you create your target avatar, and we can talk about that a little bit if you'd like, when you're raising capital, who is the person that you're really trying to speak to and help when you raise capital? Because for me, I don't think, hey, I'm Amy Sylvis of Sylvis Capital. I want to make money raising on these deals. I want to get an acquisition fee. No. I have an opportunity that's helping a lot of people build wealth that they otherwise wouldn't have access to through these private placement investments, right? So as such, who am I speaking to? I'll give you an example for me. Lawrence mentioned I've got cystic fibrosis. It's thank God there's a miracle medication that came on the market a few years ago. But as I was battling this medical condition for most of my life prior to 2020, I was in medical offices a lot. I got to know doctors and nurses. I actually had a W-2 career in biotech for a long time. I understand the drug development area, both personally and professionally. So my avatar, I understand, nurses being overworked, not really seeing a clear path towards retirement, even though they're paid well, wanting to spend time with their family and having some vacation or some free time to really enjoy themselves. So I put myself in, for example, a nurse's position when I write some of my posts, because that's one of my target avatars. So as I think through a target avatar, what's one way or some ways I can get their attention on LinkedIn? You can comment on your target avatar's posts. So you can go to the search bar and search by hashtags. So hashtag healthcare, hashtag, in my role, hashtag nurses, something like that, or even just keywords outside of hashtags. Let's say you were an engineer in your W-2 life and you want to target engineers to raise capital for. What are some things that engineers talk about on LinkedIn? I candidly don't know, so I'm not going to speak to that, but you can kind of think through how you might want to speak to these people that you're targeting, that you want to help in their financial and wealth creation journey. Find what they're posting and comment. Show them some love. Show them some support. Even if you aren't thoroughly familiar with what they're talking about, or maybe they switch jobs. And, we all get those things in our feed of like, oh, so-and-so just got a new job. Comment, wish them well. Even something as simple as that, because that's going to get their attention. And of course, that will make people like you. To find potential investors, you use WeConnect, Sales Navigator, other LinkedIn. I use Sales Navigator. That's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, I love Sales Navigator. It's a paid tool for sure. It costs a bit, but my gosh, you can do so much sorting and filtering. Bernadette, sounds like you may already know, but for anyone else who doesn't know, you can post by, or you can search for leads. You know what? Let's go take a look. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to do some action. Let me show you here real quick. Yeah, it is $1,600. I have made multiples and multiples and multiples of that by raising capital through that. So, all right. Are we seeing my LinkedIn page here?
Yes, we are.
All right. Thank you. All right. So let me show you Sales Navigator just real quick. And again, I don't get paid any money or get any benefit from endorsing Sales Navigator. I just want you all to know what's out there. Oh, and you can get a 30-day, I think, free trial of Sales Navigator if this looks interesting to you. So here's how I use, well, one of the many ways I use what's called Sales Navigator. This is basically a search tool. So we can filter by truly anything and everything you can imagine. So let's say I want to look at second degree connections. So meaning not people who I have a connection with on LinkedIn, but friends of theirs, their connections. And then let's say, you know, I want to target people in Los Angeles because I know people in LA, you know, they don't want to buy here. They're not interested in paying the high prices here. They want to invest outside of LA, but they don't know how. So I can be, you know, I can be helpful to them. So I'm going to include Los Angeles metropolitan area here. And you can see these people are changing on the right side based on what I'm looking at. So far I have 180,000 requests. Okay, industry. I talked about healthcare. So you can sort by by the industry that someone's in. So let's say hospital and healthcare, we're going to include that. So that'll whittle this down a little bit more. Yes, so now we have 37,000. Again, you can just kind of go on and on and on. If I want more experienced people, meaning they probably are more tenured, make more money, have more money to invest. And then we'll do one more thing. School. No secret to most of you, I went to USC. USC people love to network and talk to each other. So I'm going to opt them in. So now I have 2,000 results. So again, this is just one way you can use this spotlight, this activity and shared experiences. I can say, I want people who posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. So that means there's something for me to comment on. So I can now go to Jennifer's profile. Hopefully you can all see that pop up. So she fits all that criteria. I'm going to now go to her profile, view LinkedIn profile, see what she's posted, get to know her a little bit more. And let's see, I can see, what her posts have been. She posted, looks like 3 days ago. I can throw in a comment there. And again, just kind of follow that engagement. Don't make it cheesy. Don't make it artificial. You know, there are a lot of people that are, trying to, pitch and do things on LinkedIn. So if you're going to do that, I just want to make sure, we do it in a genuine way because, we've got to be authentic. Is that helpful? Was that confusing? How are we feeling? We're okay? All right,
Very
cool.
helpful.
Oh, great. Okay. So the last two things I'm going to say on, kind of the like part of the funnel is when you think of posts or you're trying to brainstorm what you should post about, think about what your avatar's pain points are and goals are. So, maybe people don't necessarily want to leave their job, but maybe they're looking for a second another stream of income to come in and supplement, their W-2 job. So maybe you'll start a post that talks about, hey, I know there've been a lot of layoffs lately, in XYZ industry. Here's how passively investing in real estate can help. Just that's a loose example, but talk directly to your avatar when you do posts. So I'll give you an example here. So you may not be able to see it, maybe a bit of an eye chart, but I'll just read it. I started off by saying, are you worried about the layoffs you're seeing in the news? And this was an actual March 22, 2023 stock market performance for the day. It's bold. It catches people's attention. The headline, a lot of people are dealing with layoffs. And then I talk in the post about diversification. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, nothing wrong with that. But investing in real estate is something that I find to be helpful to have another stream of income. You guys get the general idea, right? Hopefully. All right, cool. All right, so I know I've been talking for a bit, so we're gonna talk a little bit about trust and how we measure that. Of course, as we said, these phone calls and getting people on your investor list so you can nurture them. So gaining trust, it's all about thought leadership. So you've decided, you're known, you're out there, you've got that megaphone, the LinkedIn is really favoring you, the algorithm is broadcasting your posts and your comments on other people's posts to the masses. You've showed empathy in your posts, so people know that you understand their struggles, you understand their goals. But now we want people to feel like they trust you. So having thought leadership, commenting on the latest real estate news, the latest economic news, sharing investing basics with folks. Again, you're likely targeting people that don't even know maybe that a syndication exists, or that they can invest, they don't have to spend millions and millions of dollars to own a commercial real estate property. They can do something as little as 50 grand, $50,000. So educating your target avatar about real estate basics can be tremendously helpful in showing that thought leadership and gaining trust. My one tip is, of course, don't give financial advice unless you're licensed. The SEC, either now or in the future, is going to observe what you're doing. We don't want anyone to get in trouble. So unless you're a licensed broker-dealer, unless you're a licensed financial advisor, as you all know, my tip is don't give people financial advice. Don't tell them what to do. Talk about what you're doing. Talk about how you're thinking through things. Talk about what you and your family are weighing or considering, if that makes sense. So totally fine to talk about yourself. Just be careful of saying, I see people do it all the time. Like, oh, you should be investing in real estate. That could be considered by the SEC financial advice. So we want everyone to keep their nose clean there. Let's see. Do you have a certain amount of time to comment? Let's see. Pamela, do you mean comment on other people's posts or reply?
Yes, on other people's posts, like you illustrated how you found someone using Navigator. Yeah. You went to their profile, you saw their last post, and I think they posted 3 days ago, and you said, okay, I could comment on that. Would you give yourself like a time frame to say, if they've posted maybe within the last 5 days, then I'll post, but if they posted 30 days ago, I'm not going to comment on their post? Do you have that kind of?
It's a great question. I think it's all fair game, because they're going to get a notification that someone commented on their post, and they're going to wonder, who is this person that cares enough to engage? Once you know this game, comments are like gold, right? Every single person that comments, you're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for commenting. So I think that there's no limit to when you can go back. Unlike people on other platforms, I think maybe some people see it as creepy or something like that. But here, no, most of this content is professionally based. The algorithm isn't going to punish you or the person's post. In fact, it's going to reward it by the simple fact that it's got more comments coming through and conversations happening, if that makes sense. It's a good question.
It does. You are debunking everything about LinkedIn that I know.
I've also heard, Amy, that comments of more than 8 words are very important. If you just go great, good luck, they definitely don't count as much. And I've also heard that reshare. So if you post something that's really good and I repost it, that gives us both like some good credibility. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the first thing about comments, you're absolutely right on several levels. Having a substantial comment that is more than exactly just, thumbs up or great job or something like that is definitely favored by the algorithm, no question. The other thing is I would encourage everyone to think of a comment as if it's a post, because some people may just read your comment. They don't know or see anything else by you. And you want to make sure that you're making a good impression there by adding value and things like that. So I think on multiple levels, whether it's the algorithm, but also having people know, like, and trust you, making substantial, thoughtful comments that add value, always a great path to take. Reshare, we've actually found that posts that are reshared are often not shown by the algorithm to most people. So our suggestion is, take a screenshot, something like that, and create a new post on your own. Again, LinkedIn's thought process is they want new content, they want new stuff. So if you happen to, if I want to share Trevor's post about one of his great speaking engagements, I'm going to take a screenshot of his post, create a whole new post for myself, tag him and say, hey, look at my buddy Trevor's up to. He's speaking again. If you're in this area, make sure, you go check it out, or here's, the link in the comments. But that's what we found, Trevor, so far. But if you found something different, feel free to share.
I haven't. I just heard that.
Oh, okay. All right. I appreciate you asking. There are so many little details on how to juice this algorithm. I tell you. Great question. Thank you. Let's see. So the last tip is, if you're anything like me, I love to share data. Can you tell I like data? Have I mentioned that several times? I share data. I share statistics. But it's so important and so great to share a bit more of an emotional connection. Why do you do what you do? What's your why? What's your drive? What's your passion? All things like that. So again, that'll help people feel connected to you and build trust. And it's pretty obvious, I think you all will agree, when people share stuff just to kind of pull heartstrings, it feels a little icky. It feels a little weird. Be genuine about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with being vulnerable. I talk about my health struggles, mostly because I get a lot of messages of parents of kids with CF that are like, oh my gosh, we didn't know this was possible for our child. So, I do it to add value from that perspective. But, if you're doing something from the heart to truly, try to connect with people, it'll be received really well. Thoughts? We good? All right, we're rounding out the, we're coming to the finish line here. So this is just an example of a thought leadership post, something that was really well received by my audience. A lot of folks that, went through the system I did of, go to college, get a good job, be a good worker, don't realize that income is taxed at different rates, right? There's earned income, there's portfolio income, and then there's passive income. So, you don't have to share this. I'm not saying, this is what you must share to gain trust, but it is an example of adding value, providing information so people can see you as a thought leader, but someone who definitely knows what's going on in this space. All right. So as we round this out, I've got a challenge for you all. I don't know, anyone up for a challenge? Take a deep breath. Let's go.
I am. Let's challenge. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you. Oh, I just saw Vlad. Vlad, good to see you. All right, here's the challenge. Post on LinkedIn for the next 5 or 7 days. Who's up for it? Comment on 3 people's posts of the next 5 to 7 days. If you don't know how to comment on posts, ask Trevor. Trevor is everywhere, commenting, supporting. It's phenomenal. And as a result, everyone loves Trevor. It's like, hey, Trevor's always supporting me. He does all this cool stuff. So you got challenges with that. Ask Trevor. He'll tell you how to do it.
I feel like a celebrity. Thank you.
You kind of are, man. You kind of are. And send 20 connection requests over the next 7 days. It's a big one. If you want to hack for that, LinkedIn actually allows you to import some of your email connections to the platform. So you can manually add and search for people that may fit your target avatar if you want on the platform, or send connection requests to via importing your email connections. So, all right, you all. This was so much fun. This is me. This is my LinkedIn. If we aren't already connected, I would love to be connected. You can comment on my posts. I'll engage in yours. You can learn from what I do. I'm happy to share. And if you want to get in contact with me, in addition to LinkedIn, you can go to investwithamy.com, and I'll be happy to connect and help you in any way I can. Thank you all so much for joining, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I missed the so now when you you talked about the thought leadership, right? Does it always have to be about real estate? I know does it always have to be real estate all the time? It can be about something you're doing in your life, something different.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, if you're posting 5 out of 7 days a week, it is great to mix it up. I think I think of Yona Weiss, I think of the great Maurice Philogene and what they post, right? They're really these LinkedIn masters in my mind and what they do. And they don't, Yona Weiss actually very rarely posts about cost seg, if you can believe that. But we all know what he does, right? He's so embedded in this community. So yeah, I mean, he talks about wisdom or his wife's advice, the podcasts he has, all those things. He is a very observant religious person. He sometimes talks about his faith tradition and his beliefs, and or sometimes in a non-religious sense, he'll talk about mindset and things of that nature. So Lawrence, I think that's a really good point. Mixing it up and not just being, laser focused on just one topic, I think can be incredible thought leadership. Thank you for saying that. I agree completely.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Can you stop sharing screen for a second?
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I like everybody. Any questions?
I have a question. Does the I'm getting the comment. I mean, I am in the process of asking for like 20 or more connections within 5 to 7 days. So I started practicing that about a week or so ago. So does that have any impact on the algorithm? Just that task or that act itself, or is just a way just to expand your community?
Yes.
Your reach.
Yeah. If you have a lot of unaccepted connection requests, that can punish you. So there is a way to look at your sent connection requests that haven't been accepted on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to show you all if we have time. And you can unsend them, if you will. But this is really kind of an extreme thing. So if you've got 200, 300 unanswered, unaccepted connection requests, the algorithm may punish you a little bit. But if you've got, 20 or something like that, again, over the last week or two, that's not going to do anything. So it is a good practice. Maybe once a month, you or a VA go in, unsend connection requests that weren't accepted, maybe those that are over 2 to 3 weeks old. And that's just a nice way to kind of keep that clean. So great question.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much. Could everybody please turn the cameras on? I'd like to take a picture. Everybody.
Ethan, you're in trouble. Ooh.
Come on, Christine, Pamela, Tim. Okay, I like the shirt. I like the shirt, the t-shirt, Trevor. I like the t-shirt. Okay, everybody smile. One more time again. Thank you again. Thank you. Oh, David, now you come in now. Here we go, Tim. 1, 2, 3, last one. Look at me. There you go, Tim. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Amy, I want to say thank you again for coming on tonight, taking time out for your family, and sharing your tips, tricks, and secrets for LinkedIn, capital raising on LinkedIn.